Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wow, what an evening. Thanks to you, Prime Minister, for coming to Karachi, my hometown. I have to say it's a big honor to have you, the Governor of Sindh, the Chief Minister of Sindh, with whom I'm going to have very difficult conversations tomorrow. So thank you for being here today. I have to recognize the chairperson of SECP who has stood by me during the transformation of this economy, and of course Farooq, who we will be celebrating with tomorrow. I have to say Hussain Daud Saab and also our colleague from Fauji Fertilizer are a source of inspiration for all of us. I think it's important for me to recognize that Pakistan Stock Exchange and my journey have been in parallel. But first of all, I have to say, I have to thank you, Prime Minister, for honoring not only this gathering, but for me, because in Islamabad, I worked very closely with him, and it was my dream come true that he comes to Karachi and he meets you all and sees in person the heart and soul of the leadership of Pakistan that is concentrated in Karachi, the Sindh province where I come from. And I have to thank Farooq for delivering this premises, because we said it has to be different for the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, this is my tribute to you because of the encouragement you have given and the trust you have placed on me. So thank you. Okay, now enough of emotionalism, and let me come to the basics of this place. I have to thank you for gracing the occasion, Prime Minister, to celebrate the top 25 companies' achievements. Let's collectively applaud all members of Pakistan Stock Exchange, most of all, our leading subscriber to market capitalization and long-standing veterans of capital market institutions. I have worked with you in trenches in mid-1990s. I have seen how you helped me transform the stock exchange as a stranger from abroad. At the outset, let me thank all of you for standing by me, having trust in me to effectively design and implement a path-breaking transformation of the capital markets supported by the ADB's financing around mid-1990s. And then there were subsequent transactions which my colleagues from ADB had. PSX was automated through that transaction. CDC, the custodian of the shares, was set up as a result of that operation. NCCPL, and I pay tribute to all the corporate leaders who stood by to lend this country a new Pakistan Stock Exchange, which was an integration of the three exchanges. The problem with us was there was no proper price discovery mechanism. And when you integrated the exchange, you had a real price discovery mechanism. So let me touch upon 6 points with this introduction. PSX potential and performance has now surfaced visibly. But there's a lot more underlying this that needs to be harnessed. In the last 2 quarters of 2023, the Karachi Stock Exchange 100 Index posted 30% gains, and the market capitalization rose by 29% from $25 billion to $32 billion. This exchange was an exchange of $100 billion when the transformation occurred. Somewhere we lost our way because of the macroeconomic crisis. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. We have been able to stabilize this economy. This growth of market capitalization in this short period of few months will always be recorded in the history that you have seen, because it's never happened in such a short period. Average daily value and volume traded increased by well over 40% in the past 3 months. Again, a milestone. Second, PSX has responded positively to the emerging economic recovery, and the first quarter growth outcomes point to real GDP growing by 2.5%, because recently Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, in accordance with the IMF, published for the first time the quarterly figures of the economy. We shall be continuing this tradition, hopefully not only during our term, but subsequently. The structural reforms, which Prime Minister, you have steered at the SIFC forum with your leadership and also with our partners in development, are anchored on the operationalization of new state-owned enterprise policies. Some of them will be the candidates for privatization and offloading the shares. We don't have enough time to do all this work, but I can assure you, under your leadership, we shall sow the seeds and our footprints here. The FBR restructuring. Heaps of studies have been done on FBR. I said, forget about that. Let's implement the restructuring. You shall be seeing that steadily before we leave on how much we will take it forward. Capital market growth and diversification, very close to my heart. With SECP chair, we have submitted our plan for capital market transformation. We are addressing deep-rooted problems of energy sector, historic increase in gas prices, and we get abused by the press for that. But we have to make these difficult decisions. These are only some of the elements that I'm highlighting. I can assure you we are working round the clock with the support of our leadership. Groundwork has been done for eventually launching in a bigger way the Sovereign Wealth Fund, whose legislation was left behind by the previous government. We are doing a lot of groundwork to foster macroeconomic and FX stability beyond our term, if we can manage. It has helped conclude the first ever peaceful review of the 3 billion staff level agreement, and we expect that to bring in 700 million alone, besides 1.5 billion of quick dispersing assistance, which will help strengthen our reserves at the central bank. The government's efforts include lifting restrictions on the trade and investment flows by removing bans on imports, allowing banks to settle LCs and profit repatriation of dividends for the multinational corporations, thanks to the Governor of Central Bank, with whom I have worked during my career. He and I are never fighting because we are from the same brotherhood and constituency. Both of us, along with my ministry and with the economic affairs, particularly the debt division of the Ministry of Finance, are working very hard to understand the debt profile of this country. I can assure you we don't talk about it, but we are not amiss. You all write on it and you talk about it. We have started to reprofile the domestic debt, with investors moving to longer tenor instruments to drive reduction in the cost of borrowing for the government. 60% of our debt is domestic debt. So before we cry outside for help, we need to help our country with your support. None of these solutions are without the pain, but without pain, there is no gain. And countries that have gone through crisis have tightened their belts, have actually sacrificed for the future of the country. I speak from my 80+ countries experience. My third point is that PSX has made substantial inroads in Islamic finance. It now constitutes around 67% of the market capitalization, and it trades with over half of the market cap companies in Islamic business. Growing role of Islamic equity and debt market backed by best practices of Sharia has been recognized, and PSX has won the Best Islamic Stock Exchange Award of the Global Islamic Finance Awards for the third consecutive year in 2023. With support of PSX membership, which means all the brokers, the banks, and all of you, the stock exchange has floated not only a host of Islamic indices, but there will be more indices to follow in this area. But few critical products are in the pipeline, including, thanks to our members, real estate investment trust funds, the cash-settled futures, derivatives, and options. And we are exploring the Sharia-compliant trading mechanism and systems. All this tribute to our management to help us diversify the products, but most of all to my colleagues, the board members of Pakistan Stock Exchange. A lot of people tell me, why are you not outside the Pakistan Stock Exchange chairpersonship? I have the permission of the Prime Minister. Let me tell you this openly. It may be in the newspapers again tomorrow, but I am telling you that I don't do things in hiding. I do it with legal backing. Fourth, Mr. Prime Minister, my colleagues here have played an instrumental role in strengthening the governance of the stock exchange. The leadership from the chairperson of SECP, but I have in my bones and blood governance. Besides PSX acquiring the state of national trading surveillance system, which Farooq talked about, an overwhelming substantively regulatory and risk management framework, board has steered reforms of the joint inspection system with our subsidiaries. And we have a best world-class appellant system. We also have a very good investor protection system, which gives comfort to all of you. Fifth point, PSX is now in the league of sustainable stock exchanges. It is a member of the World Stock Exchange. It happened during my term. I'm really proud of that. Farooq, you made it possible. Pakistan Stock Exchange started background work and advisory services for promoting ESG across its market cap companies. With SECP guidelines on ESG's harmonization and standardization of ESG will be pursued. PSX will be on the forefront of sustainability awareness campaign and shall be issuing guidance through ESG primer. I have to tell you, environment, social, and governance safeguards are the principal discipline of all companies all over the world, and we have to adopt these. It is not CSR, please understand. These endeavors will play a critical role in attracting foreign institutional investors in Pakistan Stock Exchange and support our export-oriented industry in entering into markets whose clients and investors are focused on investing and buying ESG-compliant products. Sixth, More recently, to expand its investor base and allow for some depth and breadth in its debt market, the government has allowed PSX to float its government securities. I could not have done it without the SECP's support, but most of all for Prime Minister's confidence to allow me to take it to the cabinet and get it approved. And only yesterday, we submitted a summary and it has been approved this evening. Thank you, Prime Minister, for allowing that. Besides State Bank, now government debt can be issued from the capital market, so everybody can invest in the government's debt. We offer good returns because of the problems we have created as a government. So why not benefit people beyond the banking system? Drawing on the broader investor base, raising debt from market has multiple benefits. I don't have time to go into the technicalities of it. Trust me, it'll ease the pressure on banking system most of all, as government debt was crowding out private lending. Now, as we pick up the debt from the public, the banks can actually lend to private companies. The first issuance is going to be an innovative one-year discount sukuk structure aligned with conventional one-year T-bills. And I'm optimistic that not only Islamic banks, but conventional banks will subscribe to this issue. It is the first of its kind, but I can tell you it is going to grow more and more if nurtured effectively. Farooq, with a very deep sorrow heart, has agreed that the first issue would be done on a pro bono basis, free. He will not charge me on anything for floating this debt. So thank you, Farooq, for allowing that flexibility. Only last night we negotiated this between us. Let me conclude once again by thanking all of you. I have been in this city for 5 years since I returned from overseas. You have embraced me. You have given me respect. You have, recognizing that I was unemployed, kept me busy in Karachi city. I have learned from each of the corporates so much, formally and informally. So I owe you a lot. I have to say, I have talked positively about capital markets, but I know as a professional of capital market that we haven't even scratched the surface of capital market. It is only a very small proportion of the financial market asset. No country has grown without having 50% of the financial assets emanating from the capital markets. So please wake up and work harder to have your capital markets grow faster. No capital markets can grow without an effective financial market integration, and it is the responsibility of the central bank and the finance ministry to foster this integration between the banking and the capital markets together. No institution can work alone. It's really the teamwork that helps and rewards. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for allowing me to share my thoughts.